Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really powerful story today, one that totally flips the script on how we view success, status, and what actually gives a person value. It's called The Hidden Generosity, and it's a fascinating look at what happens when our superficial ideas about wealth completely crash into the raw reality of human connection. So let's just start right here with the big question. Can money truly buy everything? I know. It sounds like a totally cliche philosophical debate, right? But stick with me, because as we unpack this story, you're going to see how this exact question completely shatters the worldview of someone who thought they had the entire world figured out. Okay, Section 1, the illusion of wealth and meeting the CEO. Let's meet our main guy, a young, highly successful CEO named David. Picture this. He's operating out of this gorgeous, high-rise luxury office, and he's completely bought into the illusion that his massive wealth meant he could buy literally anything on Earth. Because of his massive bank account, he really felt like he was floating way above everyone else. He treated people he thought were, beneath him with just absolute freezing cold arrogance. He was so incredibly hyper-focused on his status that he totally lost sight of where actual human value comes from. Moving on to Section 2, the invisible guardian and a daily greeting. Now, David's cold attitude is a wild contrast to a guy he actually crosses paths with every single day. On one hand, you've got David, overflowing with material wealth but completely bankrupt in how he treats people. And on the other hand, you have Robert. Robert is an elderly security guard in David's building. He's got a super low income, but he's just overflowing with genuine warmth and kindness. It's a classic setup for sure, but the day-to-day reality of how these two interact is what makes this dynamic so fascinating. So every single morning, despite wearing this old, faded security uniform, Robert stands right there by the skyscraper's glass doors. He politely opens them and offers this huge, warm, genuine smile to David. And the result? Nothing. He is completely, totally ignored. Even though Robert is there, reliably polite, day in and day out, David treats this old man like a ghost. He doesn't even acknowledge he exists. Which brings us to Section 3. The unexpected storm, when money fails. Right, so this entire dynamic flips completely upside down one evening. Out of nowhere, this massive, violent rainstorm just hammers the city. And when you know it, minutes later, David's ultra-expensive luxury car has a total engine failure right outside the building. Boof, dead. Suddenly, this super powerful CEO is stranded, absolutely furious, and freezing in the pouring rain without an umbrella. And here's the crucial point. When all of David's money can't stop the freezing rain and it can't magically fix his luxury car, who steps up? The invisible security guard. Robert immediately sprints over, literally sacrifices his own umbrella by holding it over David, and gets completely soaked to the bone himself. Then he gently invites the shivering CEO inside his tiny cabin for shelter. All right, Section 4, the hidden struggle inside the guard cabin. So inside this tiny little space, the whole vibe just shifts. Robert hands David a warm cup of hot tea poured from a tiny little thermos. And David, who is honestly pretty shocked by this totally unexpected kindness from a guy he always just brushed off, starts actually looking around the warm little cabin. And that's when he notices two very specific things sitting on Robert's desk: a small, crumpled medical receipt and a photograph of a little boy lying in a hospital bed. Intrigued, David finally speaks up and asks about the photo. Robert looks down at the picture with just so much love, gives the CEO this gentle smile, and delivers this absolute gut punch of an explanation. That's my grandson. He needs a heart surgery. Just take a second and imagine being in David's shoes right then. The absolute weight of those words. This paints such a heartbreaking picture of what Robert's life is actually like behind the scenes. The guy is working overtime every single day. He's struggling to save literally every single penny he can scrape together for this incredibly expensive heart surgery. But here is the kicker. Despite carrying this massive, crushing burden to save his grandson's life, he never, ever loses his kindness or his warm smile. Robert is the guy who, despite having nothing, still manages to offer warmth, shelter, and his own hot tea to an arrogant stranger who literally treated him like dirt. And that leads us to Section 5, true measure of wealth, and the epiphany. This entire incredible revelation brings us to the core of our explainer today. How do we actually measure true wealth? I mean, really, it's the exact paradigm shift David had to wrestle with, as he sat there shivering in that humble little cabin, holding a cup of tea given to him by a man who was just infinitely richer in spirit than David had ever been in cash. The source material wraps this up so beautifully. Completely ashamed of his past arrogance, David finally gets it. He realizes that true richness isn't measured by a bank account. It's measured by the generosity of your heart. So he steps up. He quietly pays off the entire medical expense for the child. The story notes that David personally hands Robert the document covering the hospital fees, and these two men just break down, shedding tears of joy and shaking hands. The CEO finally truly understands what it means to be wealthy. So, we're going to end our explainer today with the exact lesson David carried with him for the rest of his life. Never measure a person's worth by their wallet, but by their heart. It's a really powerful reminder for all of us, right? Who are the invisible people you might walk past every single day? And if a sudden storm hit your life tonight, would your wallet keep you warm, or would you need the unexpected kindness of a stranger's heart? Definitely something to think about as you go about your day. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.